Pedro Pascal was born into a world already on fire, though he was too young to remember the flames. In April of 1975, in Santiago, Chile, a child named José Pedro Balmaceda Pascal opened his eyes while his country was living under the shadow of fear. The military dictatorship ruled with silence and violence, and speaking the truth could cost a life. His parents believed in democracy, believed in dignity, believed that people should not be afraid of their own government. Because of that belief, they were marked. And because they were marked, they had to run. Before Pedro could form memories, his family fled Chile. They became refugees, strangers in foreign lands, first finding safety in Denmark, then eventually settling in the United States. Safety came, but comfort did not come easily. Home became a shifting idea rather than a place. Pedro grew up with accents around him, languages blending, cultures colliding. He learned early what it felt like to exist between worlds, to belong everywhere and nowhere at the same time. As a boy, Pedro found discipline in swimming. He trained hard, waking up early, pushing his body until it burned. Swimming taught him endurance. It taught him how to survive long stretches underwater when your lungs scream for air. Without realizing it, he was training for the life that awaited him. But swimming was not his true calling. Stories were. Movies were. Characters were. When Pedro watched films, he didn't just see heroes and villains, he saw people who were broken, misunderstood, lost. He felt connected to them. Acting felt like a doorway, a way to express the things he couldn't explain with words. When he moved to New York to study acting at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, Pedro believed, like so many young dreamers, that talent and hard work would be enough. He believed the city would notice him. He believed the world would open its arms. Instead, the world tested him. Just as he was stepping into adulthood, life delivered a wound that would never fully heal. Pedro's mother, Veronica Pascal, the person who believed in him without conditions, died by suicide. The loss shattered him. It left questions with no answers and a silence that followed him everywhere. In her memory, Pedro chose her last name as his own professional identity. It was his way of carrying her forward, of letting her live on every time his name appeared on a screen. New York did not care about grief. Auditions didn't pause for heartbreak. Bills didn't wait for healing. Pedro entered what would become nearly 15 years of invisibility. He auditioned endlessly. He was rejected endlessly. He was told he didn't fit. He was too ethnic. Too ambiguous. Not leading man material. Not this. Not that. Always almost, never enough. He waited tables. He borrowed money. He slept on couches. There were moments when his bank account dropped so low that even hope felt expensive. He watched friends leave the city, give up acting, choose safer lives. He stayed. Pedro appeared briefly in television shows, faces that flashed on screen for moments and disappeared just as quickly. A cop here. A lawyer there. A guest star no one remembered. Yet he treated every role like it mattered. Because to him, it did. Acting wasn't fame. Acting was survival. There were nights when he questioned everything. Nights when quitting felt logical. Nights when the dream felt cruel. But something inside him refused to die. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was love. Maybe it was the promise he made to his mother without ever speaking it out loud. Then, when he was nearly 40 years old, the universe finally shifted. In 2014, Pedro Pascal walked onto the set of Game of Thrones as Oberyn Martell. He wasn't the biggest star. He wasn't expected to last long. But the moment he appeared on screen, the world noticed. Oberyn was dangerous and tender, confident and vulnerable, a man who lived loudly in a violent world. Pedro played him with fire and truth. When Oberyn died in one of the most brutal scenes television had ever shown, audiences were devastated. And just like that, Pedro Pascal became unforgettable. Fame arrived suddenly, but it didn't change him. It surprised him. After years of being unseen, being recognized felt unreal. But Pedro didn't chase celebrity. He chased meaning. Narcos came next. As Javier Pena, he carried the weight of morality, guilt, and obsession. The role demanded complexity, and Pedro delivered it with restraint and intensity. He wasn't playing heroes anymore. He was playing humans. Then came Star Wars. The Mandalorian made Pedro Pascal a global name, yet his face was hidden behind a helmet. Ironically, it was in this silence that he reached millions. Through posture, voice, and stillness, he told a story of loneliness and duty. A warrior learning how to care again. A man discovering fatherhood in a broken galaxy. Pedro had spent his life feeling unseen. Now the world listened even when he didn't show his face. In 2023, Pedro became Joel Miller in The Last of Us, a role that felt like the sum of everything he had lived through. Joel was a man shaped by loss, hardened by pain, surviving in a world where love was dangerous. Pedro didn't act Joel. He understood him. He carried grief the way only someone who had lived with it could. The performance changed television. It changed careers. It changed how audiences saw him. He was no longer just a fan favorite. He was an artist at his peak. Off-screen, Pedro remained what he always had been: kind, awkward, emotionally open. He spoke about mental health not as a concept but as a lived experience. He supported marginalized voices not for applause, but because he understood what it meant to feel erased. He never forgot where he came from, or how close he came to disappearing. Pedro Pascal's story is not about talent alone. It's about patience. About grief that doesn't break you, but shapes you. About a dream that survives long winters. About arriving late and still arriving strong. He didn't win because he was the fastest. He won because he stayed. And today, when audiences see Pedro Pascal on screen, they aren't just watching an actor. They are watching a life that refused to give up. They are watching survival turned into art. They are watching proof that even if the world ignores you for years, it only takes one moment of truth for everything to change. And when that moment comes, you must be ready.